Okay, so I want to talk here about more about major 7 chords, and particularly transitions from a major to a major 7 and then to a 7, but also descending minor patterns. So I'm going to use, before I show you what I mean on the guitar, I'm going to use a few classic examples here. Something by the Beatles, Smile, Nat King Cole, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, B.J. Thomas, If by Bread, Walk Out to Winter, Aztec Camera, and Alone Again, naturally, Gilbert O'Sullivan. All these feature a major 7 prominently, which is that kind of dreamy, giving that very sort of emotive and reflective and dreamy quality. It can, the major 7, as I've said before, and a lot of the kids I teach will see this as a sort of a relaxed chord. Some call it beach music, or spa music, or elevator music, if you like. But it's also got this very dreamy quality. And there's particular ways in which that chord, if you change from a major to a major 7, as in Something by the Beatles, it's really it really grabs you. I'm going to show a few examples here, but before I show those examples, I want to start with the song that really made me want to play the guitar. And the songwriter is Roddy Frame. The band is Aztec Camera, and the song is Walk Out to Winter. Let's have a quick listen here. As soon as I started playing the guitar, that first chord was the one I wanted to learn. Let's listen. What is that chord? That was the chord I wanted to learn. And here's the chord it is. It's a major 7. It's an E major 7. Just so dreamy. So that first chord changes to some nice chords after. There's a 13 here, minor 7. But when I started playing, before I played any chord, that was the chord. What is that Aztec Camera chord? And the easiest way to play it was here, an open A major 7. There was something about that chord that grabbed me. And then there's a whole load of favourite other songs that feature that major 7 heavily. First one, if the computer will work quickly. It's Something by the Beatles. This is a George Harrison tune. Now, I've always found that George Harrison, it's interesting that he was the one out of the Beatles that, having got into the spiritual thing, that he kind of really stuck by it authentically. And there is something kind of spiritual and on another level about George Harrison's music, I always find. Here Comes the Sun, very happy. Something, and what's the other one? While My Guitar Gently Weeps, My Sweet Lord. They're all great examples of sort of taking you to another level. Let's hear a bit of... Again, it's a major to a major 7, that change. Attracts me like no other lover. So let's have a little look on the guitar. It's the major to a major 7, and then a 7. Now I'm just going to use the keyboard actually to explain that a bit more clearly. Okay, so here's a major chord. Here's a C major. It's just made up of the 1st, 3rd and 5th notes of the major scale. Right, so here's the top octave, the C. Here's the major 7. This is the 8th note, or the octave. This is going down to the 7th note. So this is called the major 7. And then it goes down to the flattened 7. So you've just got this something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. So you've just got a descending thing there. And what comes in later in this song as well? Don't wanna leave for now. You know I believe in how. Descending notes again. So again, bringing about that sad feeling. So you've got, where are we? Upside down, it's hard to see. Just one note, semitone down, just descending by semitone. And then the high bit, where are we? Descending down again by a semitone. So that's what's given us that feeling of emotion again. Notes going up or chords going up tend to give a feeling of elevation and upliftedness, if that's a word. And coming down, it tends to make us feel sad and reflective. So here's the part I'm talking about with the descending minor as well.
I don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in how.
It's just one note going down. So it's basically don't want to leave her now. You know I believe in how. So you've got a combination there of the major to a major 7 to a flattened 7, which is descending notes by a semitone. And then you've got the descending minor notes, which are working on the relative minor, so they're related to that major chord. So that's a really interesting one. There's a couple of other very famous songs that have a very similar kind of progression going on. Let's have a look. If by Bread. This is beautiful chords in this. Let's have a listen. Let's get to the words. Here we go. Beautiful lyrics again, which really conjure so much emotion. Again, this time it's an add 9 chord, the kind of major chord going to a major 9 and a 7. It's a very similar beautiful, but what it's also got in it is that descending minor again. Let's have a look.
There's no one home but you. You're all that's left.
Okay, here it comes again, just like something. You've also got the descending minor. One note going down. Very nice half diminished chords there, and then back in with the add 9. We'll talk about the add 9 chord more as well. It could be a sus2 sometimes, based on the second note of the major scale. I think we had that in If You Leave Me Now by Chicago. Other examples, I think Crazy for You, Madonna uses that add 9. Every Breath You Take, Police, instead of a normal major, it's the... I'll demonstrate that again with a keyboard actually. So there's a regular C major based on the 1st, 3rd, 5th. Now if you bring in if you actually play the 2nd note as well, like that, I call it a rock ballad chord, soft rock ballad chord. And that chord is in, I think, Crazy for You, Madonna, Every Breath You Take, The Police, Chicago, If You Leave Me Now, and this one by Bread, except it's in A. Okay, so there's you're just bringing in the 2nd note 1, 2, 3. And that again has a really dreamy, reflective quality. And just while we're talking about Bread, who did If, their most famous song is probably Make It With You, which is used recently in some kind of advert, I think. The predominant major 7. It's E major 7 this time, but immediately dreamy. Let's have a listen.
Hey, have you ever tried really reaching out for the other side?
Yeah, so that's Bread again, using their major 7, mellow, soft rock kind of music. Let's look at a couple of other examples of the major 7 going to the 7. Sorry, the major going to a major 7. Just like in Something, and then sometimes to a 7. Let's see. Nat King Cole's Smile.
Smile.
There's the major.
Though your heart is aching, smile.
There's the major
even
7.
though it's...
Don't know what key it's in. Smile though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. There's that one. Now, one of my all-time favourites, a Bacharach and David composition, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Again, very dreamy. Let's have a listen. Again, it's a major to a 7.
Raindrops are falling on my head.
Major 7.
And
7.
just like
It's just
the
one
guy's
note changing
feet
on
are
top of the
too
chord.
big for his bed.
Raindrops keep falling on my head. Just one note changing. We'll demonstrate that with the keyboard again. There we go, so it's in F. There we go. Raindrops keep falling on my head. So, again. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Descending by semitones. So there again is the power of just descending by semitones there. From a major to a major 7 to a 7.